This is regarding professional development for Standard 9. And this is Russ.
Hello.
Okay, so I just have a list of questions that we can go over.
Okay, sure, let's go for it.
Simple. We don't even have to look at the camera if you don't
Okay.
So can you just give me some background on professional developments we've had this year and anything I might have missed?
Sure. Okay, as a school, we take professional development of staff really seriously. And it starts with, at the beginning of the school year, a new employee, we ask them to come in 10 days prior. So they get 2 weeks of professional development.
Is that's for anybody who's coming brand new?
If anyone brand new coming to the school, they're given 10 days. So they are here, new staff are here for 5 days, just with the new staff and the admin. And we go through a lot of policy type things, but also some training to make sure that people are up to speed with what our current culture and expectations are. Mm-hmm. And then after 1 week, the returning teachers come back, and then we have a further week of professional development where you're able to work in teams with the returning teachers and the new teachers. So it's really important that we have that week together where we're really building the culture of the school.
So the first week, is that like where you discuss procedures?
Look, it is procedures, but it's also about making sure that you hit the ground running. So part of it is about making sure that teachers are fully acclimatized to living in Hangzhou and living in China. Okay. For many people, it's the first time they've been overseas. Mm-hmm. So it's about, I guess, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You need to make sure that you're feeling you've got a roof over your head, you're well fed, and you feel safe and secure. Once we've taken care of those things, then we take care of the more school-related items. Okay.
When I my first day subbing here, I was kind of shocked at how, you could just go in any classroom and clap or say bump, bump, bump.
Yep.
So is that when you learn it at the beginning?
Yeah, look, they're the strategies that we don't learn as a whole school.
Oh, really? It's just there?
It's just, I think that's kind of evolved over time, but they're the strategies that I guess are role modelled. Mm-hmm. And so as an incoming new teacher, you can see other people role modelling the types of behaviours that we expect. If you walk around our school, it's not one person that I know shouts and screams at students.
Yeah.
I mean, one, that's not the type of people we want to employ, but it's also, I think, good role modelling that they see what's effective and what works within our school. So as a new teacher coming in, you get a lot of good role models to help you.
Okay. And then the second week, is that when you would have big IPC meetings?
Yeah, second week is when and what we did last year is we had IPC training where we brought in 3 trainers from overseas, 3 from the UK, and they came and worked with our early years, our lower school and our middle school, and they had 3 days of intensive training. Now we've since had them return for 2 days, and the plan is to have them to come back again for the beginning of this year. So when we have all staff returning and new staff, we'll have another 2 or 3 days of IPC, IMYC, and early years training.
Okay, because I was at the one in November.
Yes.
So I had only missed one before that.
Yeah, you were at the follow-up session.
Okay.
And so I think pretty much most people had done the 2-day intensive prior, but you were there for the follow-up, which it was a really good timing, I think, for us to have the follow-up. It gave us 6 months to really implement what we'd learned, and then the follow-up was good timing.
And that was that in the summer, was that the first time the teachers had a hands-on IPC?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, yes and no. We had a couple of teachers who had some experience working with IPC, and they were working more as, I guess, trainers, and they were kind of helping out. But it was the first time we'd had the professional consultants come in and deliver a full-on PD.
Okay. So it sounds like I didn't miss that much then if I got the second part of it.
Yeah, you got the second part, and I think you've by working in the team that you have with Tanya and having the handover from Josie, they're 2 really good teachers who I'm sure did a great handover and had things in place. So it made it probably easier for you to come in rather than
a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like my PD has been a lot of what you said, like observing the teachers, and going to the sessions is great, but more just talking, I think, is helping me.
And I think that's all about the culture of the school that we develop. And I've just gone through a recruiting process. We've got 27 new teachers coming in, and when I start my interviews, I always say to people, I can see their CVs, I see their letters of recommendation. I say, I know you're a good teacher. I know you have the skills we're looking for. What I'm looking for is a team person, someone who's going to be collaborative, someone who's going to work well within a team. That's really important. The other thing is that when I do my grade allocations for next year, it's not, I want to teach grade 1 and I want to teach grade 2. It's, well, if you're in grade 1, who else is in grade 1 and how well are you going to work together? So for me, it's really important about creating a team, not so much based on what grade level you'd like to work in.
Do you do any PD regarding teamwork?
Look, I think we have had PD over the course of the year. And what I like about our school is for various reasons, teachers need to get accreditation with their state back home, and part of that accreditation process is they need to deliver PD to a whole staff. So it's beneficial to us and beneficial to them. So over the course of the 2 years I've been here, we have had staff who have delivered professional development to their peers on teamwork and cooperative learning.
Cool. And my third question is some benefits you've seen from PD, but I think you've just...
the benefits of PD I'll probably explain, but also for me, one of the important ones was the implementation of Jolly Phonics.
Oh, yeah.
And Jolly Phonics, look, phonics and phonological awareness is really important. And to me personally, there are lots of different ways that you can teach phonics. And what I saw probably 8 or 9 different ways in different classrooms teaching phonics, and there was no consistency. So we implemented a program called Jolly Phonics, which is based on from Britain. And what it did is it just gave us consistency across the whole lower school. So from nursery through to grade 5, we're using the same language and we use the same prompts, and it just makes the implementation far easier and far more consistent for students.
Yeah.
Okay. And what we did there is we actually, the school paid for an online training program, which was between 20 and 30 hours of online training, and I think there were 6 questions based on 5 modules that you had to answer. And every single person, admin and teacher assistants and teachers in lower school, have gone through that training. And the new incoming teachers next year are going through that training right now. So that's continuing, yes.
Okay. Oh, they're starting it before they get here?
Yep, they've started already.
Oh, that's good. That'll just knock one thing out.
Yep.
I'm really glad I did it.
Yes.
I really like it. So it's good. It's a good program. Then I just wanted to, personally, if you have any recommendations of growing as a teacher, like what?
Sure.
I don't know if you have.
Okay, no, look, and I guess my answers aren't necessarily specific to you, but they're specific in general, and I think it's really important. And something I've observed within you is that you're very much a lifelong learner. Okay, you have this desire to continue to learn. You ask lots of questions. You also take advice very well. If I or another teacher will come and say to you, look, how about trying this or trying that? You always give it a go. Okay, and look, and as with anyone, if it works, great, you run with it. If it doesn't work, you kind of think, well, maybe I can modify it, or maybe I can change it in some way. But you're always willing to give things a go, and I think that's a really important thing. We never stop learning, and education is continuing to evolve.
It is.
It's very different now to what we used to teach back when I started my career, and also when we were students. And I think it's really important to continue that evolutionary process.
Okay. You said 2 things that really struck me as, so one thing was, I have recently been thinking, I don't know how I could ever go back into a high school classroom, which is what I like to teach, because I learned so much from the students.
Yes.
So in first grade, I'm kind of like, well,
Yep.
I already knew that, but thank you. So, but I'm like, I can't go into a high school classroom at this point and say, bump, and get attention. So.
You can, but strategies that I've used that are similar to that, and I've used in high school classes, is it's basically about having that expectation and setting your standards. Now, my way of it, I don't go bump. That's not me.
Yeah.
But I will stand in front of a school of, and I have stood in front of a school of 1,500 students who are sitting, chatting away and talking. I've walked up to the front. I've gone and crossed my arms like that, and I wait. And I guarantee you, within less than a minute, there's 1,500 students are sitting silently waiting. And what it is creating that expectation. And it works on that ripple effect, because a couple of students will see me fold my arms. They know that means, can you be quiet and can you listen? And they go to their neighbour, hey, you, and it ripples, right? It's really very, very powerful. Now, that works amazingly in a high school class. So
that's procedural, and I think one thing that's been on my mind is that one thing I love about first grade is I'm teaching skills.
Yes.
And I've never taught content. I've only ever taught skills, and I love teaching skills because they go farther than content.
Yes.
But I have considered, okay, if I were actually to go back into an upper classroom, I wouldn't know what to do with the content. because I'm not used to it at this point. So do you have any ideas how?
Yeah, look, I think depending on what kind of curriculum you're using, if you were going to a middle school class and you were looking at the IMYC, the International Middle Years Curriculum, you already know how to use the IPC.
Right.
It's very similar. So you would just take the content and the units that they do in IMYC, and you would just adapt them to the grade level. Okay. So I think that you would quite easily make that
So
transition.
it's just, you don't think there's anything I need to, like a course I need to take or anything like that?
Yeah, but you're already trained. You're already trained in your content area.
Yeah.
You have the knowledge.
Yeah.
And a teacher is a teacher. And to me, it's when I went to university, there were people there that the university I went to didn't teach you how to become a teacher. There were teacher colleges that taught you how to write on a blackboard and how to do all these very basic things. But the university I went to just assumed you've either got it or you haven't as a teacher. Okay, and it meant that when you start off in your career, your first 6 months, maybe teachers from my university didn't have all the skills that the teachers college students had. But after 6 months, our careers have just flourished so much more because we learnt more about the content and more about understanding and the philosophy of teaching, not the skills on how to write on a blackboard.
Right.
So
that's kind of what I'm talking about, like the.
So you have the content within your area.
Okay.
So what's your area? Your area is.
I've always done like ESOL, reading and writing, English.
Okay.
I did teach economics, which was when the students were teaching me. Because I actually have a degree in economics, but I'm not very good at it.
Yeah, but as I said, being a teacher, I had a part-time job for 6 months, and I was working basically in Indonesia, where the first language is Indonesian. I was teaching Indonesian to grade 11 and 12 students.
Really?
I didn't speak a word of Indonesian, but I'm a teacher, and I could use a textbook, and I could make sure the content was appropriate. I had a teaching assistant who did a lot of the translating side of things for me. But at the end of the day, if you're a teacher with those teaching skills, you can teach anything.
Okay.
All right. That's
so that sounds.
Yeah, that content isn't an issue so much. You can always learn your content. And even when I taught grade 7 maths.
Yeah, that would be a struggle for me.
It is. And I taught grade 7 maths, and I would have to learn the content one day before I taught it, and I was only ever one day ahead of my grade 7 students. Okay, and I had them fooled. They thought I was a maths whiz because I knew everything about maths, but I only knew about the content that I was teaching that day.
Okay. So
if you asked me about the content next week, I had no clue. I had to learn it every day.
Okay. So it sounds like regarding professional development, you're really big on daily and learning from the other teachers and having the time when we need it.
Yeah. But the other thing I will suggest, and something that I've just started doing myself, is this thing called a MOOC, which is a maths online.
The thing that Rob posted on the forum.
Yeah, the thing that Rob posted on the forum. And so basically, I'm studying at Harvard University at the moment. Yeah. I'm doing a short course from Harvard.
What are you doing?
It's one on educational management.
Okay.
Okay, and there's every single topic that you could ever imagine. Okay, and it just gets you into the habit of study and the habit of doing professional reading. And at the end of it, you get a little certificate.
You do?
Yeah, you get a certificate. You print it up and put it on your wall, and it says you have a short course certification from Harvard University.
Is it free? No, you pay.
It's free to do the course. If you want a certificate, it costs you $50.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you
I'll
can
be doing that.
Yeah, you can just go online, and any area that you feel you would want to learn about is available. And there's every university pretty much around the world is now doing these online courses.
I read the forum post, so I just hadn't, because I'm doing this program this year, and I'm kind of overwhelmed with it.
And I really think that's the way of the future as far as teaching is concerned.
Yeah.
Okay,
just to learn
and something for the incoming teachers next year, for their performance management, one of the criteria is that every teacher next year will have to do a MOOC.
Really?
Yep. I will just say, look, you can choose it, whatever you want, but I need to see certification for a MOOC for next year.
Wow.
Okay, and it's just forcing people to kind of engage with professional learning.
Yeah, in China, I've always learned Chinese so that I'm in my students' shoes constantly.
Yes,
because I can't speak the language and they can't speak my language, so that has really helped. Okay, well, thank you very much.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you for your time.